This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
My name is Kabanekera Grace, second speaker from the affirmative side. Well, Pano, today's case is quite interesting. Now, starting from the first affirmer, like she told you, we are the Ministry of Health working hand in hand with the NDA, and of which they're taking up our same house. Well, thank you so much. Now, I will start by rebuilding what they have actually trashed down. Now, they say marijuana should be banned instead of actually being legalized because 5.6% of the population is actually suffering from the usage of marijuana. But these are people suffering because they haven't actually gotten the information about the marijuana and the beneficial things about the beneficial part of marijuana. There are people who are not aware. They have been using it as a drug. They didn't know it was a medicine, did they? No. Now, it is coming up as a medicine. We are showing you the right and proper ways of you to use it and so that you can actually get cured. Now, Pano, they also say that people are using it in a bad name. Yes, people are using it in a bad name. That is why there is need for legalization so that we can justify the uses and the benefits of marijuana so that we can show them the disadvantages part of the marijuana. And also, like we said, that the National Institute of Health said it helps a lot in curing the different diseases. Like we mentioned, it regulates and also prevents diabetes. And like we mentioned, it also fights cancer. Now, let's talk about the long-term effects that they come claiming they are not clear of. They're not clear of. That means they may not even be there. Yes, and actually, the short-term effects have actually been realized, and there are things that can actually be treated. Now, Pano, this is when someone actually goes and abuses it, in case they actually go and abuse it, and of which that is not recommended. But if they do that, Pano, we're looking at drug abuse which can be treated, and cancer that is a lifetime disease. Wouldn't you want to prevent such a disease than actually you going and refusing marijuana because you believe it's not legal, because you believe it is not satisfied? Now, Pano, we gave them a statistic of us in 2017 after the petition, and it was nullified. It was not granted by court because court was aware of the disadvantages and did not want to pass it by. But now we are looking at 2023 after 6 full years of actually going into the investigation, finding out the benefits. Not actually, there are no long-term effects, there are actually short-term effects that can be treated. Now, Pano, we still stand to say that as we are working hand in hand with the NDA, like we told you, the Ministry of Health is going to be licensing. So you're only authorized by the Ministry of Health to actually carry out the cultivation, and in the usage, it is the Ministry of Health that is going to sensitize and find out. Now, the NDA, like we told you, we're working hand in hand with the NDA, is there to actually regulate and find out the regulatory laws. It is going to put penalties on those who abuse the drug, because a bag is not supposed to be abused, and that's why we are saying it's only for medicinal purposes. And we are looking at the welfare of the economy. We are looking at our economy going on a high level. We have people dying every day. 8% of the population of Uganda is suffering from cancer. 1.2 million are suffering from AIDS. And this is a thing that we have. This is marijuana that we have, and we can actually utilize it and for the betterness of our people and the welfare of our people. It is going to be a close monitorization by the NDA. We are going to closely monitor these people that are licensed by the Ministry of Health to grow this drug for the effective use, because we cannot allow it to be abused. Yes, we as the NDA under the Ministry of Health wouldn't want to see our people suffer. That is the reason as to why we are making sure it is used only for medicinal properties, and that is why we support that it should be legalized for only medicinal purposes. Now, Pano, misuse it, go use it for the wrong purposes, we shall find out. And in case we find out, you shall pay hefty fines, you shall be jailed, and at the end of the day, we are going to see that there is success because the legislation is going to be there. Thank you so much.
Resolved. My name is Namakola Shanita from Kashaka Girls. Today's resolution is marijuana should be legalized for medicinal purposes. And what to us as team negators say that marijuana should not be legalized, but instead it should be banned. But what do Team Affirmers come and present in today's debate? Team Affirmative come and say that people who use marijuana or abuse marijuana are the people who don't know its uses and its beneficial parts. But to us as team negators, we say that even if people know the beneficial parts, because we see in research, it says that when people take when people use this marijuana and it becomes addictive, which means that if this marijuana is used, if it's once used, or which if it's used to cure some diseases, people will be addicted to it, which means that it will cause many bad things in our country. And we see that marijuana is administered to patients, as Team Affirmative say. But we see that if marijuana is administered to patients, all the things that they're trying to prevent, as the diseases they have mentioned about cancer and many others, also pain. But as we see that if marijuana is given as a medicine, it will increase or it will worsen the condition. This is why we find that it will cause mental disorder. It will bring intense causes of what they are trying to prevent. For example, the diseases that they are trying to prevent. They talk about how they are going to use the NDA, the National Drug Authority, so that they can arrest people who abuse these drugs, who use these drugs. But we see that if NDA is unable to do this, but we see that Team Affirmative says that people who use these drugs, they do not have any option. But us as team negators, we say that we have alternatives that can be able to stop these diseases or cure these diseases, which means that we should not look about the beneficial part of the marijuana, but instead we should look at the negative part. In today's debate, we see that the disadvantages are outweighing the advantages of this marijuana that they are talking about. We see that when we talk about the alternatives, we look at about kakava, jinga. There's also anti-nausea medications, which means that there are alternatives which can be used for the same use instead of using marijuana, which can cause more risks or worsen the situation of a patient. To us as team of negators, we see that there are also other drugs which can be used to prevent all the diseases they're talking about. And we see that NIDA in 2019 analysis, it shows that there's little that is known about the long-term effects of marijuana being used in people with health issues. This is why we find that people with health issues are taking in marijuana, but the research says that it doesn't know what is the impact. If a person has pain, for example, it means that if this person takes marijuana, they do not know how long this pain will be stopped, which means that marijuana is not the best option, but there are other drugs that can be also used to stop this pain. For example, diclofenac, there's also ibuprofen, which can be able to stop this pain instead of using marijuana, which has a dangerous compound, which is delta hydrocannabinol, which can cause many other diseases, for example, mental disorders. To us as team affirmers, we say that marijuana is more disadvantageous than advantageous. And I would like to pose a question to team affirmative: how will they be able to stop the abuse of this marijuana, both in hospitals and in the community? Because we see that once it is in hospitals for medicinal purposes, it has to be released into the community, because people will buy it in order to be cured of certain diseases. How will they be able to control this abuse once it is legalized? And to us as team affirmatives, we say that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages in today's debate. With that, I stand to win this case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.